there, folks. Happy Sunday. It is a beautiful afternoon out there, but it's a little warm for my taste. So I wanted to come up with a fun indoor project that's cheap and easy to do because I still have enough resources to supplement it. So, as people on this channel have known, I've been working on a book lately called Step Apex Rising, and not revealing any plot details, but there's a lot of people running around with masks. It's kind of just my thing. I've custom made a lot of masks. That was actually a whole other video on this channel, several other videos really. Here's a few snapshots if you like. But on that note, as I was writing the story, as I was at the midway point actually, I took a pause to do some revisions, and I added a brand new character called Top Hat, or Toppy, as the citizens of this dystopian city refer to him as. And he's a really fun and cool character. I really love his design. You would have seen some drawings and stuff on the screen here as I've been talking about him. So I drew him as a concept, then I drew like the actual canonical design for him, but I wanted to go a little further and actually make his mask. But it's kind of weird because it's a mask, but also a hat, but it functions as a helmet. It's a little weird, but long story short, I want to make the damn hat, which I think will be very fun, but it will be a little tricky. First things first, I can't just get a top hat and modify it, because that would not be proportionally right. His whole deal is that not just a top hat on his head. That's boring. The top hat goes all the way down to his neck and covers his entire face, and he wears his glasses that are inserted inside. So I'm going to be tasked with building a bigger, over-proportioned hat from scratch, and I need to figure out how to do the glasses. And I think within the span of an hour, I think I already know what to do. I've got all my ingredients laid out around me. So I'm going to try to explain the steps of this process before I go ahead and do it. And as I do each thing, I'll give you a little update. Just fun little tutorial video. If you want to do this for yourself, you're more than welcome to. It's not a copyright thing. I mean, it's my IP, but you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. So basically, I went to I went to Five Below, and I remembered that they were carrying this poster board for, like, you know, projects and stuff, and I got 4 of these. I probably got way more than I needed, but this is going to be the foundation for the cylinder of the top hat, right? So I'm going to start by making a coil. I have some, like, foam mannequin heads around. I got one in front of me that you can see. I'll be using that as a stencil, so I'll wrap the paper around it, take the measurements, which will be a whole process on its own, then I'll clip that out. And I'm going to use like some paper tabs, maybe some staples, glue, tape, I'm not sure yet, to keep everything in place. So it's that cylinder that fits over my head. So that's basically how that's going to work. Then I'm going to build the surface of the hat and the brim. So that's also going to take some measurements and stuff like that and lining everything up. But once I do that, I'm also going to be covering everything with cloth. And fortunately, I already know exactly what I'll be using. When you think top hats, you think like, this very rigid, hard, tender velvet, which I don't have. I hate velvet. I like the look. I don't like how it feels, though. But I found a perfect substitute. It feels a little old, but it's modern enough that it'll hold up. So I found this old pair of pants I just have, but I don't like them. They're nice pants and all. It's just I don't prefer wearing black. I love wearing black, but it takes up a lot of heat, especially in the summertime. So that's a risk I'm not willing to take. So with that note, this is a very nice, dense, but flexible material, and I could chop it up any which ways that I want. It will definitely be enough cloth for the cylinder, the brim, and the top. So I'm going to make the paper inside, I'm going to cover everything in cloth, and the next step, which is going to probably be the most trivial, I'm going to have to improvise as I go, is I need to make the glasses that go inside of the hat. So I have an extra, very old pair of glasses, and it's going to be difficult because what I need to do is, firstly, I'm going to use these as structure, so that way when you're wearing the hat, it hopefully has something supporting it on the inside so it moves with your head. Know what I mean? I'm not going to do anything with these glasses I'm wearing now because they're my main. But I have like 5 pairs of spare glasses, and these ones I really don't need anymore. So what I'm hoping I can do is I can use these for structure, but I can custom make more vintage looking lenses just for fun that go on top of these to imply that they're older, if you get what I mean. I'm taking inspiration from the Claude Rains Invisible Man, obviously, his railway glasses, as I think they're called. So they have a very distinct shape that I want to try and replicate. I'm just going to have to see how that goes. As for making those modifications, I have this interesting, like, solar-proof covering that you put on windows for, like, cars, and there are certain portions of the window windows I have in my own apartment that are blacked out with this type of material, and it's really useful. But I have a lot of it, so I think I can use those and overlay it on top of plastic from a McFarlane DC Multiverse box, so it has a little bit more structure, because that's very bendy. This is a little more stiff. And then I can put these on top of these main, more round lenses. But again, it's not meant to be 100% accurate. It's meant to just sell the illusion. That's enough for me. Even if I wear it and it feels really floppy and cheap, as long as the look works, that's all I care about. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting process. I also got my staples, double-sided tape, a lot of glue, ruler, white marker. It's going to be a berserk process. It's going to take me probably the whole day. I'm starting right now at just after 2:45. It will probably take me into sunset, maybe beyond, because I'm very much a perfectionist, as you know. So I will record each little step of this as we go, and we'll see how it winds up. I think at the very least it'll be a fun process. It might not be perfect, but it'll be enjoyable. So let's see how it goes. I'll see you when I got the next update ready. All right, first step is done. It took me a lot longer than I thought. I think it took a solid 45 minutes, but I got the cylinder. The reason why it was so difficult, I mean, all I knew I had to do was create a rectangle out of that black paper and give it just slight overhangs, or sort of this long tab that I can then tape and staple with. But at the same time, I wanted to be faithful to the drawing proportions, which are a lot more cartoonish than I thought, and make it tall to imply there's a lot going on inside. Again, not revealing plot points here, but it could still fit over my head, so it's really awkward. So I've been using this dude over here, who helped me to create a lot of masks that I've made in the past, and I came out with a cylinder, so you could see through it. It's really held together with a double-sided tape. I'm going to do some staples as well, make it more secure. That should be enough, but I need to remove my glasses, and the only way I'm going to look really ridiculous. But what I need to do is I need to put this over my head and press my ears in, and there we go. Hopefully that'll be enough. There should be just enough room in here to compensate for the glasses, but we'll see how that goes. I couldn't even see myself when I had the tube on my head, obviously, but that's an idea of how big this thing's going to be. But again, it's supposed to be ridiculous. It was important to me that the glasses aren't midway up the cylinder. They're supposed to be a little lower, so the top half, well, not half, but for lack of a better term, needs to be higher, taller than the bottom half. So that was really important for me to do. But this is my base. This was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. So the next step I'm going to do, and this is going to be interesting because I'm actually going to hop ahead to cloth. I'm going to make the circle that goes on top of the top hat. And what I need to do is create tabs around it that I can then tape and or staple to the inside of the cylinder. But I also want to put on the cloth as well, so that way I don't have the cloth overhanging on the outside of the cylinder. So when I wrap around the cloth and the cylinder itself, it's not kind of like puffing out. It just looks a little more streamlined. And I'll have to make the circle itself just a hair smaller than the actual circle that this is reading off, because then you're going to have a little bit of excess cardboard and some excess cloth peeking down into the cylinder. So I know that sounds like a whole lot of bonkers weird stuff, but when I figure out that process and I have that main piece, I'll show you that piece before I stick it inside. So let's see what else I can do here. Alright, got another update here. So here is going to be the top of the hat. So what I basically did is I made a circle, and I did a little bit of excess when I cut it out, so you'll see there's all these little tabs that I folded up. It kind of looks like a little flower or something, so now all these little tabs are folded inward, and the goal was to basically have this to support the top of the hat, and it would just stick right in. But it was a little bit on the small side, so what I decided to do is I added an extra ring of cardboard going around it, which will solve two problems. It'll fill in that gap and also give the hat itself a little more structure. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cloth on top, wrap it down around this extra cardboard ring, and then I could slide the entire chunk into the hat, and there will be enough tension in there that's not going to sift up and down. I mean, I'll glue it or do whatever makes sense, but it'll be just the right thickness that it stays in place, it looks flush, it's just going to be a really nice shape. And all the while, I literally just use packing paper, but I'm taking measurements and stuff down, so you don't have to worry about that. For now, here's the top of the top hat. Let's keep going. Alright, check this out. I cracked the code. So nothing's changed with the cylinder, but I made the top, and it looks beautiful. So I cut up some pants, as I said I would, and if we Sorry, I know we're at a weird angle here. Hold on, let me tip this over. If I slop that right out, you can see what I did. I made a piece of cloth, a circle, that's bigger than the circle I was working with, and I stapled the edges all around the sides. So then when I slap this guy on, I can't do it immediately because there's some little flaps coming out there. It stays in pretty well, but of course I'm going to secure it with some glue to make it a little bit stronger. But all that being said, it looks really great. I'm very happy with it. So I will let you know what I do next. Yeah, I look like the Zodiac Killer. But this works! I fixed in the glasses, I got the cylinder going, I got the top ready to go. I'm gonna keep going. This is gonna work! Alright, now time for this crazy little number. We got the brim, and it has all these little, I guess, teeth of tape or something are going to fold up into the cylinder and secure it, but every single piece of tape is stapled in. So I think the next move, there's 2 layers to this by the way, so it's going to be pretty sturdy. I'm liking that a lot. I think I need a lye cloth on the cylinder before I go any further and put the top on. I mean, it's optional. I could do that at any stage, I suppose. And then whatever cloth I have left, I can use to upholster the brim, and then I can attach the brim. So yeah, we're almost there. Get in there. And it's almost nighttime, but here's what I got going on the hat so far. It is totally wrapped up in the cloth. I had to improvise a little bit. I used different types of cloth to fill in some gaps if the cloth in the pants didn't stretch out far enough, but I'm okay with that. I like to think of this character as someone who's constantly repairing his hats, or hat, depending on what we're talking about. I'm still working on a few things in the story, but yeah, right now it's really floppy, but after I cover up the brim with some cloth, and then I slot in this top, which provides a great deal of structure, he's going to look fantastic. And you can see that there's the 2 eye holes in here. Well, barely, but if I put my hand in there, you can see. Yeah, those are where the 2 eyes go in. And all these 2 cuts that go off to the side, that's to support the glasses, so that way they can branch out a little bit and have some freedom. But once they're on top of this, they'll cover everything up, and I'll try to improvise my own lenses to go on top. So far, not too bad. Okay, it's just past 11 p.m. and I have finally solved this insanity. I need to do some tweaks, I'm sure, but I did succeed. Here is Toppy's hat, or mask, or however you'd like to describe it. Fully functional, completely 100% built, and you can wear it, which is a tight fit, and I think only I can wear it because I have a very small nose. But if anyone has a slightly altered profile than mine, then this would not fit. But I made it work. And again, I made things a little bit scrappy to hide some gaps, but again, you have to assume this guy's running around causing a lot of trouble, getting damaged, and he has to continually repair his hat. So I like that there's a few imperfections in there. Down to the glasses, what I did is, kind of as I said I'd do, again, when you really closely inspect it, you see how cheaply it's done, but if I ever find a substitute, I can just swap them out. I got rid of, this was actually a spare pair of glasses. I was missing one of the nose guards, so I just took the other one off to make it symmetrical, and then I used 2 layers of plastic, one light, one little tinted, to create these symmetrical lenses. Made some cardboard inserts on the side to give it an illusion that they have bigger hinges, and then I kind of used some tape and glue to tack them onto the glasses. And they're prescription, so I'll also be able to see out of this hat. So let's see what it's like to get this sucker on. All right. I actually haven't eaten since before noon today. For me, it's like a case of art before physiological needs, I guess. So anyways, let's wrap up this video quick. Let's see what it's like to get this sucker on. Hopefully nothing falls apart, and I should be able to see well enough. So what I gotta do is I gotta squeeze in my ears. And sure enough, everything is on, and my nose really hurts, but it worked. It's insane, but I built a hat, and my nose really hurts, but this thing looks great. So, yeah, that's it for this little vlog, tutorial, whatever you want to call it. If you have questions, let me know in the comments. This is ridiculous, but I love it. It's going to be a perfect display piece. Alright, so take care. See you next time.